He opened his eyes slowly. Bright white light hit his face. The ceiling above him glowed like it was made of light, not paint. It felt like the sun, but it wasn't warm. It was cold. He blinked again. He was lying on a flat white bed. No pillow, no blanket. Just a hard, smooth surface. The room around him was the same. White walls, white floor, white ceiling. Everything was clean. Too clean. There were no windows, no doors. No sounds. He sat up slowly. His head hurt. His mouth was dry. "Hello?" he said. No one answered. He stood up and looked around. The walls were smooth. He touched one. It felt like glass. Cold, hard, perfect. He checked his arms. There were strange red marks, tiny dots on both of them, like needles had been used. Didn't remember anything. Not his name. Not where he came from. Nothing. But something inside him said this was wrong. Very wrong. He waited. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Time felt strange here. Then without warning, a light came from above. It was not like the room's glow. This light was different. It moved. It scanned his body from head to toe slowly. A soft hum filled the room. He stood still. He felt the light touch his skin. It was warm. Then the light disappeared. Silence returned. He sat down again. Was it watching him? Was someone on the other side of the wall? He walked to every wall. He looked for a crack, a line, a hole. Nothing. Then he shouted again. "Is anyone there?" Silence. But then, a sound. A low beep. He turned. A small square opened in the wall just for 2 seconds and then closed. It was too fast to see what was inside, but something was left behind. A tray. With food. The food was strange. It looked like jelly. 1 red cube, 1 blue cube, and water in a clear cup. He was hungry. He ate. It didn't taste like anything, but it filled his stomach. Then he noticed something. The tray had letters on it. English letters, but they were off. They said, Subject 7, DAY03 Subject. Day 3? He read it again and again. Was he Subject 7? Were there more people here? Time passed. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. The lights never turned off. He tried talking to the walls again. Tried banging, screaming, kicking. Nothing worked. Then, while resting, he heard a sound, a soft click. He stood up quickly. One part of the wall across the room became clear like glass. He could now see through it. And what he saw made him freeze. There was another room, just like his. Same white bed. Same walls. And inside. Another person. A girl. Maybe 20 years old. She looked weak, thin, pale. She didn't look at him. She stared at the ceiling, blinking slowly, like she was dreaming with open eyes. He stepped forward and raised his hand. He knocked on the glass softly. No response. He knocked again. Louder. Still nothing. And then just like that, the glass turned white. Again. Like a screen shutting off. She was gone. He stepped back, breathing hard. He wasn't alone. But why was she like that? Why didn't she move? What were they doing to her? That night, or what he guessed was night, he noticed something new. His bed had a small scratch on the side. A line carved into the hard material. He bent down to look. It was writing. Not clean, not deep, but still there. There is a way out. His heart jumped. Someone else had been here. Someone had tried to escape. He felt something stir inside him. Hope. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't imagining things. He had to find the way out. The next day, the scanning light came again, but this time it stopped on his head. It made a loud beep. Then the light blinked red. Suddenly, a sharp pain hit his neck. He fell to the ground. His arms didn't move. His legs didn't move. He could still see, but he couldn't scream. Then a panel in the ceiling opened. A machine floated down. Smooth, silver, silent. It had arms, long, thin arms like needles. It moved close to him. One of the arms touched his forehead. He felt nothing. But he knew something was happening inside his brain. Then darkness. He woke up in bed. His body was shaking. He was covered in sweat. The marks on his arms were new again. He looked around. Everything was the same, but something was different inside him. He remembered a word. One single word. Lab. Why this word? What did it mean? He closed his eyes and tried to think. Images flashed. Machines, needles, lights. A voice not in English. Not human. Then he heard it. A soft sound in his head. A whisper. It said something in a strange language. But somehow he understood. You are awake too soon. He opened his eyes quickly. No one was there. He now knew the truth. He was in a lab. He was not a guest. He was a subject. They were watching, studying, testing. But why? And who were they? On the 5th day, the food tray did not come. He waited, stomach empty, mouth dry. He screamed louder than ever. He kicked the wall. He hit the floor. Nothing. Then the floor glowed. A white square under the bed started to blink. He pulled the bed aside. There was a hatch. A secret door. He opened it. Inside, a piece of cloth. Dirty, worn, wrapped in it. A broken mirror. A note was scratched into the metal. We are the test. The lucky ones forget. The others remember. He stared at his reflection in the mirror. He looked normal. Brown hair. Dark eyes. A scar on his chin. But behind him, something moved. He turned quickly. Nothing was there. But he knew now. He was not alone in this room. Even if he couldn't see them, they could see him. The next time the scanning light came, he didn't stand still. He grabbed the mirror, pointed it at the light. It flickered. The hum stopped. A different sound started. A siren, short and sharp. Then footsteps. But they weren't human. They were soft, wet, slow. Then the wall opened. And for 1 second, he saw them. Eyes, huge black eyes. No eyelids. Just deep, endless dark, skin like glass. Mouths that didn't move, but voices in his head. And one word again. Escape. Then everything went black. When he opened his eyes, he was in the bed again. But this time, the marks on his arms were fresh and deeper. His head was full of whispers. He stood up slowly. He looked at the wall where the girl had appeared. Nothing. He waited. He whispered to the wall. Can you hear me? And this time, a voice answered, yes. The voice had come from the wall. Soft, calm, a woman's voice. He stepped closer. His heart was beating fast. Who are you? He asked, eyes fixed on the wall. No answer. He whispered again. Can you hear me? Then slowly, the white wall turned clear again, just like before. But this time, he was ready. He stood face to face with the girl he had seen earlier. She looked different now. Awake. Her eyes were focused. Her hands were pressed against the glass. She whispered, they can hear us if we speak too loud. Use your hands. She tapped her fingers on the glass, slow and careful. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. He didn't understand the pattern, but he followed. Tap, tap, tap. She smiled. Just a little. Then she mouthed the words. You are subject 7. I am subject 9. Subject 7. Subject -9. He pointed to himself. Name? He mouthed. She shook her head slowly. They erased it. She mouthed back. The glass turned white again. She was gone. But the message was clear. He was not alone. There were more like him, and they didn't want them to remember anything. He sat on the floor, thinking hard. Subject -7. That's who he was now. Who was subject 1? How many were there? The next day, something changed. When the scanning light came, it stayed longer. It turned red again, but no pain came this time. Instead, the wall opened. 2 machines floated in. Small, round, with blinking blue lights and metal arms. They surrounded him. He stepped back. One machine spoke in a deep, robotic voice. Subject 7, follow. Testing begins. He didn't move. The machine repeated, follow, do not resist. He had no choice. He followed. The wall behind him opened fully. A hallway stretched out, bright, white, endless. He looked around as he walked. No windows, just smooth walls. He passed other doors. Some open, some closed. And inside humans. He saw a man strapped to a chair, wires on his head. A woman floating in water, eyes closed. A child screaming silently in a glass room, hands banging on the wall. He wanted to stop, to help. But the machines pushed him forward. They entered a new room. This one was dark. Only one light in the center. In the middle stood a chair, not a normal chair. It had straps, needles, wires. The machine spoke, sit, emotional stress test. He hesitated, but he sat. Straps locked around his arms, legs, chest. A cold metal disc touched his forehead. Then, images. Not on a screen, not on the wall. Inside his mind, memories, but not his. A burning city. Crying children. Hands reaching out, begging for help, screams, smoke, death. His heart raced, tears ran down his face. He screamed, but no sound came. Out. Then blackness. He woke up on the floor of his white room. Again. His body was shaking. There was a small cut on his wrist. Next to it, new letters burned into his skin. Test passed. He couldn't take it anymore. He screamed again. WOY. Are you doing this? Who are you? Silence, then a beep. The wall became clear. Subject 9 appeared again. This time, she looked worse, pale, weak. She pressed her hand against the glass. She mouthed the words. They feed on emotions. That's the experiment. He didn't understand, she continued. They push us. Hurt us. Watch how we react. He asked silently. Who are they? Her face grew dark. She mouthed, aliens, not machines. The machines just serve them. That night he couldn't sleep. He remembered the eyes he had seen. Big, black, empty. He remembered the pain, the tests, the voices. And now he knew they were studying humans like lab rats, but for what? The next day, another change. This time, he wasn't taken to a test. The wall opened, and he saw a room filled with monitors. The machines guided him in. On each screen, other humans, some fighting, some smiling. One screen showed Subject 9, sleeping, peaceful. Another screen showed the man he saw before, now speaking into the air like he was talking to someone. The machine spoke. Again. Subject 7, observation phase, watch, learn. He sat and watched. Hours passed. He began to notice something strange. Each human reacted differently. Some broke down quickly. Others stayed calm. Some enjoyed the pain. And on the top of each screen numbers changed. Heart rate, brain activity, emotional levels. It was all being measured, like a game. He leaned forward. Something caught his eye. On one screen, a subject smiled as another. Humans screamed. He looked closer. That wasn't a subject. It was something else. Had human skin, but its eyes were wrong. Its movement was wrong. It was one of them, a creature pretending to be human, watching, testing, playing with people's minds. The machine spoke. Subjects are grouped, some for fear, some for love, some for betrayal. Each group is important. He turned. Why? No answer, he shouted. Why are you doing this? Do not resist. Return to room. He was pushed back to the white room. But now, he was angry. He wasn't just a test subject. He was being used. Later that day, the wall flashed again. Subject 9. She looked worse than ever. Eyes sunken. Skin gray. He mouthed quickly. How long have you been here? She wrote on her hand and held it up. 74 days. He stared, then asked, anyone escaped? She paused. Then nodded, slowly. He mouthed, How? She replied. One found a way. Through the vents. He pointed up. Here? She nodded again, then wrote, but he never came back. After she disappeared, he started looking around the room, every corner, every line. Then he found it, a tiny circle in the ceiling. Too small for a human, but maybe a vent? He climbed on the bed, knocked on it. It echoed. Hollow. He smiled for the first time. There was a way out. That night, the scanning light came again. He pretended to be asleep. When the light touched him, he didn't move. The machine didn't react. It left. He waited. Then, slowly, he stood and moved the bed. He climbed up. He used the mirror piece to open the tiny panel. Behind it, a dark tunnel. Too small to walk, but maybe, if he could break it more. Then he heard it. A whisper behind the wall. Subject 9 again. Be careful, she said. He whispered, I'll come back for you. She nodded, eyes full of fear and hope. Suddenly, alarms. A loud voice machine-like echoed in the room. Unauthorized movement. Subject 7, return. He froze. Then a different voice inside his head. Not robotic. Not human. Alien. Clever one. Now we begin the real test. The alarms stopped. Silence returned. Subject 7 stood on the bed, holding his breath. The open vent. Above him was still dark. He could hear nothing. No machines. No voices. Had they given up? No. He knew better now. They were watching. Testing. Every move he made was part of the game. But he didn't care. He was done being a rat in a cage. He was going to escape. He jumped down from the bed and pushed it back into place. He hid the mirror shard in the corner of the room behind a panel. Then he waited. The scanning light came again. This time, it stayed. Still in the middle of the room. No red flash. No pain. Just silence. Then the robotic voice returned. Subject 7, return to bed. Observation continues. He didn't move. He looked at the light and said softly, I'm not playing anymore. The light flickered. For just a second, then shut off. He sat on the floor and started thinking. There were patterns to the machines, to the lights, to the sounds. He had started to understand them. Every scan, every meal, every movement, they all followed a routine. Routines could be broken. He used the next 3 days to study everything. He counted seconds between the scans. He tracked when the food tray arrived. He listened to every footstep, every beep, every flicker of light. He even faked a panic attack, just to see what would happen. 2 machines entered the room. They didn't touch him, just watched. He screamed, cried, curled into a ball. They recorded everything. Then left. He smiled to himself. Now he knew for sure. They needed him alive. More than that, they needed his reactions. And that gave him power. That night, he waited until the lights dimmed slightly. It only happened once. Every 72 hours for maintenance. Only for 30 seconds. But 30 seconds was enough. He stood on the bed, removed the hidden panel. The vent above was dark and narrow. Barely enough space to crawl. He reached up, pulled himself in, and closed the panel behind him. Inside, it was quiet. The air was thick and warm. The walls were smooth. No metal, no wires almost. Organic. He moved slowly, pulling himself forward with his elbows. Every inch was a fight. But he didn't stop. He turned left, then right, following the faint vibrations in the walls. He didn't know where he was going, but anything was better. Then the white room. After 10 minutes, he found something strange. A light ahead, soft, blue. He moved toward it. The vent opened into a small chamber. He looked down. Below him was another room. It wasn't white. It was dark, filled with glowing panels, floating symbols, and strange machines. In the center, an alien. It floated above the ground. Long limbs, black eyes, skin like smoke. It was alone. Sleeping? Meditating? He couldn't tell. He stayed silent. He watched as the alien's body glowed faintly with colors: blue, red, purple. Colors matched the pulses in the machines around it. Then one of the panels lit up. A symbol blinked. Over and over. He couldn't read it, but he felt it. Fear. The alien opened its eyes. Black, cold, empty. Subject -7 held his breath. The alien turned, but didn't look up. Then it spoke, not aloud. In his head. You are close. Subject 7. But you still don't understand. He backed away slowly, crawled back through the vent. His heart raced. His body shook. He returned to his room just as the lights turned bright again. He fell onto the bed, breathing hard. The next day, Subject 9 appeared again. She looked even weaker. Her eyes had dark circles. Her hands trembled. He mouthed, I found the vent. I saw one of them. She looked shocked, then scared. She wrote on her hand, They know now. Be careful, he replied. I need your help, she mouthed. How? He tapped his head. They hear thoughts. Block them, she nodded. Wrote, picture noise, loud music, static, it helps. That night, he tried it. He closed his eyes. Imagined. Loud static, a crashing ocean, a hammer hitting steel. It worked. For a while, the voices stopped. He returned to the vent. This time, he crawled in the opposite direction. It led to a strange place. A long hallway. Walls lined with glowing tubes. Inside each tube, human, sleeping, floating. Some had wires in their heads. Some were not fully human anymore. He stared in horror. They weren't just studying emotions. They were changing people, creating something new. Then he saw it, a control panel, glowing softly. He dropped down silently, approached the panel. The buttons had alien symbols, but he remembered what Subject 9 said. Feel, not read. He closed his eyes, touched one. A tube opened. A man fell out, wet, unconscious. He had no hair. His eyes opened, but were pure black. Then he screamed. The room shook. Machines came rushing in. Subject -7 ran. He crawled back into the vent just in time. Behind him, the screaming man was pulled away. Gone. Back in his room, he didn't sleep. He wrote messages under the bed, scratched into the frame. They are making something. This place is a lab, but also a factory. Don't trust the other humans. Some are no longer human. The next day, Subject 9 didn't appear. He waited for hours. Called to her. Tapped on the wall. No answer. He feared the worst. The food tray came late. When he picked it up, he noticed something. A small object hidden under the blue cube. A piece of wire, bent like a hook. A message was scratched into the tray. Tonight, vent, hall 3. It was from her. She was alive, and she had a plan too. That night, he crawled through the vent, followed her directions. After 10 minutes, he reached hall 3. She was there, waiting. They stared at each other through the vent. She looked sick, but her eyes were sharp. He whispered, How did you get the wire? She said, One of the machines is broken. I pretend to be sick. They don't check me closely anymore. He smiled. Smart. She said, We can break the power source. I found its location. Where? He asked. She pointed down the hallway. Behind the sealed chamber. But it's guarded. How do we get past them? She smiled. Weak, but certain. I have something they don't. He asked. What? She leaned closer and whispered, I remember what they erased. You remember? He whispered. Subject -9 nodded slowly. Not everything. But pieces come back. Each time they scan me, I fight it. She paused, then added, They tried to wipe us. But memory hides in strange places. He looked at her with awe. She seemed weak but strong inside. She wasn't just surviving. She was resisting. They crouched inside the narrow vent, the walls humming softly around them. Where's the power source? He asked. She pointed forward. Below the hive, beneath their chamber. The hive? That's what I call it. A room where they gather, a mind-link space. Subject 7 frowned. Like, a brain? She nodded. Exactly. That's where they share thoughts. Feed on us. Plan what to make next. He swallowed hard. We need to see it. She gave him a cold look. No, we need to destroy it. They moved carefully through the vent tunnels, keeping low, pausing every time they heard machines below. The air got warmer as they crawled deeper. The lights behind the walls grew brighter, then darker, in a strange rhythm like a heartbeat. Subject 7 whispered, "They're alive, even the walls. I can feel it." She replied, "This isn't just a lab. It's a living machine." After what felt like an hour, they reached a circular opening. Below them was a massive chamber, dark, silent. Dozens of aliens floated around, not walking, drifting like ghosts, black eyes, long fingers, thin bodies, but something else caught their eyes. In the center of the room was a glowing sphere, pulsing, surrounded by wires. And tendrils. It didn't look like a machine. It looked like a giant brain. Subject 9 whispered, "That's the hive. Every command, every memory, every thought, they share it here." He asked, "Is that what powers this place?" She nodded. "It's more than power. It's control, emotion, language, even dreams." He stared in silence. "What are they trying to build?" He asked. She hesitated, then said, "Us, but better. Or worse." He looked at her, confused. She explained, "They study our emotions, pain, fear, joy. Then they try to copy it. Build creatures that can feel but obey." Subject 7's blood went cold. "They're building human-like soldiers?" "No," she said quietly. "They're building replacements." Suddenly, an alarm buzzed faintly in the distance. The hive flickered. Aliens turned their heads in unison. Subject 9 grabbed his arm. "We have to move." "They've sensed something." They crawled backward quickly, heart pounding, limbs burning. Behind them, the hive began to glow red. They returned to a small chamber in the vent system, one she had discovered days ago. It was hidden, silent. A blind spot. Here, she had tools. Stolen parts, wires, broken machine eyes. She showed him a small device she had built. "A disruptor," she whispered. "If we get close enough, we can overload their link. But only once." He nodded. "Then we have one shot." Over the next day, they trained. They practiced signals, escape routes, hiding patterns. They studied guard movements. Subject 9 taught him how to block thoughts using noise, and how to feel when an alien was nearby. They don't walk, but you'll feel a cold air before they come. How far can they read thoughts? Depends. The hive boosts them. But if we stay disconnected, they're blind. He nodded. "We'll cut the link." That night, something changed. The food tray didn't come. Instead, the wall opened without warning. 3 machines floated in. Subject 7 stood ready. Subject 7, "New test. Follow." He didn't move. They advanced. He raised his fists, but then Subject 9's voice came into his mind. Not words, just an emotion. "Wait." He stepped back. Let them strap him. This time the test room was bigger. Wires hung from the ceiling. The chair was missing. Instead, a platform with a mirror. He saw himself in it. Then the lights dimmed, and someone stepped out. Another human. Same size, same face, same eyes, but not him. It moved with strange smoothness, smiling, but wrong. Subject 7 froze. It was him, but artificial, a copy. A voice echoed in his head. "The alien, we made you again. Better, without fear." The copy stepped closer, spoke aloud. "I am Subject 7, the perfect version." Subject 7 stared, angry. Double quotes, "No, you're not me. You feel nothing." The copy smiled wider. "Exactly." It raised a hand and punched. Subject 7 ducked, fought back. The copy was fast, Cold, powerful, but it made mistakes. It didn't hesitate. Didn't protect itself. He used that. He lured it. Near the panel, then slammed its head into it. The lights flashed. The platform shook. He ran outside. Alarms blared again. He darted into the vent system. Subject 9 met him halfway. You saw it? She asked. He nodded, gasping. They copied me, she whispered. Then we're running out of time. Back at their secret hideout, they checked the disruptor. Still working. It must touch the hive's skin, she said. Then we hit this button. What happens then? It shuts down their link. For seconds, long enough to escape. Maybe. Destroy them. Subject 7 looked at her. Let's finish it. That night, they crawled toward the hive again. More guards. More movement. They stayed low, silent. Then at the edge of the hive chamber, they stopped below. The aliens moved slower now, almost. Sleepy. The hive pulsed. Glowing red-blue-red. Subject 9 whispered. They are feeding on someone's dreams. He asked, do they sleep? No, they watch us sleep. They waited. Then moved, slid down a smooth pipe. Landed behind a pillar. The hive was 10 steps away. Aliens floated around, but none looked at them. Subject 7 took the disruptor. He nodded to her. Ready? She whispered. Now or never. They ran straight toward the hive. Aliens turned. Screamed. Without mouths. Energy cracked in the air. Subject 7 leaped forward. Pressed the device to the hive. A bright flash. A scream not from one alien, but from all of them, echoed in his mind. Then, darkness. He woke up on the floor. Head spinning. Hands shaking. The chamber was dark. Quiet. Aliens floated, motionless. Like statues. The hive flickered. Dead. He turned. Subject 9 lay still beside him. He crawled over. Hey, hey. Wake up, she groaned. He helped her up. You did it, he said. She smiled weakly. We did it. But then the ground shook. Walls pulsed. A new voice entered his mind. Louder, older, darker. You broke the skin. But not the heart. A wall opened, behind it a massive eye, bigger than anything he had seen, watching them. The real controller. The hive was just one brain. This was the central mind. Subject 9 screamed. Run! They fled through the tunnels. Back into the vents. Lights exploding behind them. Walls closing. Aliens waking up, but they were slower now. Disconnected. Hive's link was gone. And now they were just shadows. Subject 7 and Subject 9 reached the surface chamber. A new door had opened. Bright white. Light beyond freedom or another test. They hesitated, then jumped through. Hard floor hit them below. They rolled, coughing, breathing fast. Silence followed. Then, they opened their eyes and froze. They were standing in a field, grass, wind, blue sky, a sun above. Birds flying, real? Or a trick? Subject 7 looked around. What is this? Subject 9 whispered. It looks like Earth. He knelt and touched the grass. It felt soft, warm, too perfect. No insects. No smells, no clouds. He grabbed a handful of soil. Rubbed it between his fingers. No dirt, just powder. Artificial. They stood slowly. Behind them, no door. No vent. No wall. Just open space. Subject 7 turned in circles. Where's the hive? Where's the lab? Subject 9 was quiet. She looked toward the horizon. There, she pointed. Buildings. Faraway shapes, gray. Tall. No movement. Subject 7 nodded. Let's go. They walked. For a long time. The sun never moved. The wind stayed the same. It was like walking inside a loop. Subject 9 said softly. This isn't real. Subject 7 replied. It feels real, but they made it. She stopped. This is the next test. They reached the buildings. Tall towers. Empty streets. Cars without engines. Doors without handles. Everything looked normal, but it had no life. No people, no animals, no noise. Like a memory. Inside one building, they found a room, tables, food on plates. Still warm, still fresh. Subject-7 touched it. Steak, potatoes, smelled perfect. He turned to Subject-9. They want us to believe this is Earth. She nodded, to see if we'll stay or question it. A voice echoed in the room. Soft, female, welcome home. They turned fast. No one there. Just sound. Then the walls turned into screens. Images played. Subject-7, as a child, running, laughing, his real mother, his house, his old dog. Subject-9 covered her mouth. My family. They stood in silence, watching their past play like a movie. Then the voice returned. You have passed the trials. You are ready to return. Subject-7 whispered. Return to what? To Earth, to leadership, to your kind. Subject-9 stepped back. This is fake. A trick. What you see is comfort. A gift for the survivors. Subject-7 frowned. You made copies of us. Built false worlds. Why? The voice replied. Because your kind is broken. We collect what is useful, erase what is not. Subject-9 screamed. We are not tools. She threw a chair at the screen. It bounced off. No damage. Suddenly, a door appeared. White, glowing, a message above it. Exit to real Earth. They stared at it. Subject-7 asked, do we go through? Subject-9 shook her head. We don't know what's behind it. He stepped closer. The door felt real. But the room changed. Quietly. The table behind them was gone. So was the food. Now, only the door remained. Subject-7 whispered. They're pushing us. He turned to her. We can't trust anything here. She nodded. Then we don't go through their door. They smashed open a wall panel. Behind it, wires, cold pipes, screens. The real world behind the fake. They crawled through the broken panel. Now the space looked different again. Metal floors, dim lights, machines humming. The illusion was gone. They were still inside the lab. Subject-9 sighed. They built a dream world to trap us. Subject-7 said, but we didn't believe it. That's what matters. A soft sound behind them. They turned. Another human, standing still. But his eyes were wrong. Too wide. No blinking. A clone. It smiled. Welcome to Phase 2. Subject-7 stepped forward. We destroyed your hive. You lost control. The clone tilted its head. The hive was one layer. The mind you touched was a seed. Now it grows. Subject-9 whispered. It's learning from us. The clone nodded. We don't need to trap you anymore. Now you trap yourselves. Suddenly, the floor beneath them lit up. A circle of light. Subject-7 pulled Subject-9 back, but too late. The floor opened, and they fell. They landed in a new room. Round. Silver walls. No doors. Just a screen on one side. It lit up. Their names appeared. Subject-7. Survived 9 tests. Subject-9. Memory resistance confirmed. Then the voice returned. You are the final candidates. The rest failed. The screen changed. Hundreds of faces. All other subjects, some sleeping, some broken, some turned into copies. Then, gone. Erased. Subject-9 fell to her knees. They killed them all. Subject-7 clenched his fists. Why us? Because you evolved. You questioned. You felt. You resisted. You are ready to become us. The lights turned red. Machines dropped from the ceiling. Clamps, wires, a glowing syringe. Subject-7 stood tall. No, we choose our path. Subject-9 stood too. You can't take our minds. The machines came closer. They looked at each other, then ran. They jumped and kicked, broke the syringe, grabbed metal bars, smashed the panel. The walls cracked. A hole opened behind the screen. Slipped through dash barely dot. Now they were in a black hallway. Cold air. No gravity dot floating. Slowly dot subject dash 9 gasped. We're in space. Ahead a window. They drifted toward it. Outside, the stars. A giant planet below dot not Earth. A huge alien station dot subject dash 7 whispered. This is where they built the lab. Subject 9 added, and the hive and the copies. They turned back. Door marked, emergency exit, human storage wing. They pushed through hundreds of pods, humans inside. Sleeping. Connected to wires, some were children, others. Elders. All in dreams. Subject dash 9 moved toward a panel. There's a release button. Subject 7 warned. They'll know. She pressed it anyway. Pods hissed. Open. A few people woke up. Scared. Confused. Subject dash 7 shouted. Wake up. We're escaping. Subject 9 said, help each other. Stay quiet. One man asked, where? Are we? Subject 7 answered, a place pretending to be paradise. But it's not. Alarms began to ring. Red lights everywhere. Aliens floated in from the top vents. Subject dash 7 grabbed a metal bar. We hold them back, Subject 9 said. You lead the people. I'll guide the systems. They split. She ran to a control panel. He stood in front of the group. Aliens came, but the people were awake now. They ran. Subject dash 7 fought back. Hard. Subject dash 9 typed fast. Sparks flew. She found something. A pod, the original escape ship. Still connected. She shouted, here, follow me. They all rushed in. Subject dash 7 dragged the last child into the pod. Subject dash 9 hit the launch button. A countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Aliens screamed outside. The hive flickered in the sky. Subject dash 9 whispered, one chance. 3, 2, 1. The pod launched. Through fire. Through metal. Into the stars. Inside. Silence. People cried. Held each other. Subject 7 and Subject 9. Sat quietly. Breathing. Free. But only for now. Subject 7 looked at the screen. Message blinked. Earth. Signal not found. Subject 9 whispered, we're not home yet. The escape pod flew through space, silent and fast. Inside, Subject 7 stood by the window, staring out. Stars filled the black sky. Below them, the alien station grew smaller, its red lights fading. They had escaped, but they weren't safe. Subject 9 checked the controls. Her hands moved quickly. Behind them, the rescued humans were quiet, scared, confused. Some were children. Others had no memories. A few whispered prayers. Subject dash 7 turned to Subject 9. Is it working? She shook her head. The system is strange. Like it's broken or hiding something. He looked closer. The pod screen blinked a message. Searching for Earth. Signal not found. One old man stepped forward. His face was thin, pale. His voice shaky. I remember Earth. I was a pilot. A long time ago. Subject 7 asked, what happened to it? The man looked down. They said Earth went silent. No more radio waves. No lights. Nothing. Subject 9 frowned. When? He replied, years ago. Maybe decades, maybe more. Subject 7 stepped back. They've kept us asleep that long? No one answered. The pod beeped. A soft voice spoke. Auto navigation active. Nearest human signal. Unknown origin. Subject 9. Check the data. There's something out there. Maybe another ship. Maybe a station. Subject 7 asked, could it be Earth? She shook her head. No, different direction. He thought for a moment. Then let's follow it. Hours passed. The pod flew toward the signal. Subject dash 7 sat with one of the children, a small girl with dark eyes. She clutched a metal doll. Where are we going? She asked. He smiled gently. Somewhere safe. Somewhere better. She whispered. I saw dreams. But they weren't mine. Subject 7 looked at her. The aliens gave you those dreams, she nodded. They felt wrong, like paper pretending to be water. He looked at her surprised. She was just a child, but her words were deep. They didn't just keep us. They studied us, he said. Softly. Suddenly, the pod shook. A warning beep. Subject 9 jumped to the controls. Something's near us. Subject 7 looked outside. A shadow. Large, moving fast. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a rock. It was a ship. Black, silent, no lights. It drifted like a ghost. Subject 9 gasped. It's human design, but old. The pod scanned it. Model, Earthship, code, Carrier 12. Year, 2134. Subject 7 whispered, "That's over 100 years ago." The ship was from Earth. But Earth was silent. So why was this ship still here? They docked. The pod connected to the ship's side. A loud click echoed. Subject 7 led the way in. Flashlights on metal walls. Dust. Silence. A fuss. Dead ship. Subject 9 read a screen. Last log, evacuating Earth, searching for survivors. Losing contact, then nothing. They moved deeper. No bodies. No life. But the system still had power. They reached the control room. Screen turned on. A face appeared. An old man, recorded. "This is Commander Reyes. If anyone hears this, Earth is gone." Everyone went quiet. We fought. First the machines. Then something worse. We sent out pods. We hid people. Maybe someone survived. Subject 7 clenched his fists. So Earth had fallen. Not just to aliens, but to something even darker. Subject 9 whispered, "They tried to save us, but no one ever came back." Suddenly, another voice played. "Not human. We found them. We used their fears. We grew from their minds." The screen flickered. Alien language mixed with Earth's. Subject 7 stepped back. The aliens were watching Earth for years. They didn't invade, Subject 9 said softly. They waited for us to fall, then took what was left. Subject 7 walked to a large window, looked at the stars, then back at the people behind him. Some were crying. Some were praying again. "We have to do something," he said. "Do what?" Subject 9 asked. "There's no Earth, no army, just us." He looked at her. "Then we start with truth. We wake more people. We find the rest. And we stop them from doing this again." She stared at him. Then nodded. "One ship. One mission. One fight." They fixed the controls, set a new course, toward the nearest colony. A place once used for Earth's refugees. Maybe others survived there. Maybe others were still dreaming, trapped like they were. Before the ship launched, Subject 7 found one more file, hidden deep. He opened it. A single message from someone on Earth. "Long ago, if you're reading this, remember who we were. Don't let them rewrite us." He saved it. Then turned to Subject 9. "Let's wake up the world." The ship's engines came to life. Lights blinked. The group stood together, tired, scared, but no longer asleep. The lost signal was found. Now the war for truth had begun. The ship flew silently across deep space. Subject 7 stood at the control deck. Stars blinked ahead. Behind him, people slept. Some rested. Others whispered. Many were still afraid, but all were awake, free from the hive. Subject 9 worked beside him. She updated the system logs, studied maps, scanned signals. "We're near a colony," she said. Subject 7 leaned closer. "Which one?" She pointed at the screen. Colony X27, last human transmission, 52 years ago. Status, unknown. Subject 7 nodded. "That's our next stop." The ship slowed near the planet. Gray clouds swirled around it. Mountains, dry rivers. No green. They entered orbit. No one answered their signal. Subject 9 said, "No response." "But I see heat sources." Subject 7 replied, "Then someone's alive." They prepared to land. The landing was rough. Dust covered the windows. They stepped out in suits. The air was cold, thin, but breathable. The colony was silent. Empty buildings, broken roads, cracked glass, but signs of life were clear. Boot prints, trash, faint lights from deep. Below. They moved carefully. Then they heard a sound. Footsteps. Fast, heavy. Someone was running toward them. Then stopped. A man appeared, holding a weapon, dirty clothes, wild eyes. "Who are you?" he demanded. Subject 7 raised his hands. "We're human." "From Earth," the man laughed bitterly. "Earth's dead." Subject 9 stepped forward. "We escaped the hive." The man froze. "The labs? You came from there?" He lowered his weapon. Then looked behind. "Follow me, quickly." They entered an underground tunnel. Warm, lit by old wires and screens. Hundreds of people. Lived inside. Thin, tired, eyes full of fear. Children played quietly. Guards watched from corners. The man introduced himself. "My name is Darian. I lead this colony now." Subject 7 nodded. "We're here to help, to wake people, to fight." Darian looked at them carefully. "What fight?" Subject 9 replied, "The hive still exists. It's spreading." Darian's eyes darkened. Then he said, "You need to see something." He led them to a deep chamber. Inside pods, dozens each holding a person, connected to wires. Subject 7 stared. "The hive is here too." Darian nodded. "We thought they were sick or dreaming, but they never woke up." Subject 9 checked a panel. "They're not dreaming. They're trapped, like we were." Darian whispered, "So it wasn't just Earth. They reached us too." Subject 7 asked, "How long have they been like this?" Darian said, "Some. Over 40 years." They worked fast. Subject 9 rewired the pods. Sent wake signals, one by one. People began to stir, coughing, gasping, crying. One woman screamed. The white room, the tests, the voices. Subject 7 held her. "You're free now." She looked at him, then fainted. More people woke. More memories returned. The same dreams. The same hive, even in far colonies. The aliens had copied humans, studied them. Everywhere. Subject 7 said, "It's not just one hive. They built many." Subject 9 nodded. "Like roots under the surface, hidden." Later, they met with Darian and the others. Subject 7 stood before them. He spoke clearly, strongly. "I was once Subject 7, just a number, a test, but now I remember who I am, and I know what they fear. They fear truth. They fear unity. They fear us waking up." The crowd listened silently. "We escaped their prison. Now we help others escape. We rebuild what was lost." Subject 9 added, "This colony can join us. We'll fix your systems, share knowledge. Prepare for what's next." Darian stood. "We've been hiding for decades, but maybe it's time we fight." He looked around. Others nodded. Subject 7 held up a small device. "The hive has a signal center. If we reach it, we can send a message to all their labs, all their copies." Subject 9. "Finished. We'll wake everyone." At once, suddenly, alarms rang. Darian grabbed his weapon. "Not again." Subject 7 ran to the screen. Small machines, flying, watching, recording. Hive scouts. They had found them. Subject 9 shouted, "Seal the tunnels. Prepare to move." The people rushed underground. Subject 7 and Darian led a small team to defend the surface. Explosions shook the colony. Subject 7 fought hard. So did the others. But the hive wasn't here to destroy. It was here to learn. The drone scanned, collected data, then flew away. Subject 9 realized they're updating, changing tactics. Darian said, They're preparing for war. After the battle, the colony stood strong, but they all knew time was short. Subject-7 looked at Subject-9. We need to find the signal core, shut them down before they evolve. She agreed. It's now or never. They made a plan. 2 ships. One goal, find the hive signal core, destroy the broadcast. Wake every human before it's too late. The final war for human minds had begun. And this time, they weren't alone. The stars were quiet, but inside the ship, everyone was tense. Subject-7 stood in front of the crew. This was it, the final mission. The hive had been watching humans for years, copying them, studying their dreams, controlling their thoughts. Now they would strike at the source. Subject-9 pointed at the map. This is the core, deep in space. Surrounded by defense systems, she zoomed in. A moon-sized station, no windows, no surface, doors, only one-way and underground tunnels. Subject-7 said, that's where the signal starts. If we shut it down, the hive loses control. Darien, the colony leader, nodded. And if we fail? Subject-9 replied quietly, then no one ever wakes again. 2 ships launched. One carried fighters from the colony, the other Subject-7. Subject-9 and a small team of survivors who had escaped the hive. They called themselves the Awakened. No ranks, no soldiers, just people who had seen the truth and were ready to end it. As they neared the core, everything went dark. No signals. No lights. Then the hive spoke, a voice inside their heads, not loud, not angry, but calm, cold. You are late. The experiment is nearly complete. Subject-7 gritted his teeth. Not if we stop you, the voice continued. You think you are awake, but you are still within the dream. Subject-9 shook her head. Lies, they want us to doubt. The ship shook violently. Lasers, drones, barriers, they were under attack. The colony fighters held the line. Subject-7's team reached the surface. They landed near a crack in the core's surface, just big enough to enter. Inside was black metal. Walls pulsed with soft red lights. No guards. No traps. Just silence. As they moved deeper, strange images appeared on the walls. Scenes from Earth, wars, cities, families. Then copies of humans, moving like puppets. Subject-9 whispered. They recorded everything. Our fears, our hopes. They reached a large room. A giant brain-like structure sat in the center. Glowing, beating like a heart. Subject-7 stepped forward. This is the core. Suddenly holograms appeared. Aliens, tall, gray, eyes like mirrors, but they didn't move. They just watched. The hive spoke again. You are not enemies. You are subjects. Curious, emotional, dangerous. You destroy yourselves. We only continue your pattern. Subject-7 shouted. You used our pain, our minds. The voice replied. We preserved what you were. Without us, you are nothing. Subject-9 stepped to the core panel. No, without us you are lost. You need us to exist. They uploaded a virus. A signal, something Subject-9 had built secretly. It wasn't just code. It was truth. Memories of every subject. Pain, joy, real feelings, not data. Not control, but freedom. The core began to shake. Lights flashed. Sirens screamed. Outside. The battle grew, but something changed. The enemy drones stopped, frozen mid-air. The signal was breaking. Subject-7 looked at the core. It's working. Then the hive struck back. A psychic attack. Visions. Illusions. Subject-7 saw the white room again. He was strapped to the table. Subject-9 was gone. No escape. Just fear. But this time he fought back. He remembered the little girl on the pod. The old man who remembered Earth. The woman who screamed and then smiled when she woke up. Real people, not dreams. He broke the illusion. Subject 9 stood beside him, bleeding, but alive. We finish this together. They pressed the final key. The core cracked. It exploded in light. The hive screamed. Not with sound, but with loss. The control was gone. Across the galaxy, pods opened. People woke up. Colonies buzzed with energy. Earth dead for decades sent out one last signal, a call, a hope. Subject 7 and Subject 9 barely escaped the blast. Their ship flew out just as the core began to collapse. Behind them, the station folded in on itself. Silent. Dead. Back at the colony, survivors cheered. The awakened had done it. Subject 7 stood on the surface, looking at the stars. We're free now. Subject 9 stood beside him. But we're not finished. He nodded. We rebuild. We tell the story, she smiled. And we never forget, because the hive's greatest mistake was thinking humans were just test subjects. They didn't realize we were survivors, fighters, dreamers, awake. The end.